The next exercise that we're going to perform is the glute bridge. This falls under the lower body category. The muscles used in this exercise are your gluteus maximus, your hamstrings, and your erector spinae. The joint action is hip and knee flexion, extension. Hip and knee extension. A progression of this exercise would be performing it with one foot raised off the ground to engage the glutes more. A variation of this exercise would be having your back supported against a box or a bench and having a barbell or some sort of weight in your frontal hip area and performing the glute bridge. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to do is lay on the ground, please, with your back on the ground. Okay, good. If possible, would you be able to just scoot back a little bit more, this way? Yeah. I'm going to actually adjust this. Okay, there we go. Okay, so what I'm going to ask you to do is, I think you seem to be in a good position. All right, I'm just going to line you up because you're a little crooked. Okay. I'm going to adjust these because they're inverting a little bit. No, I'm just going to, you don't have to move. I just want you to bring your ankles out like so they're straight. Okay, good. Okay, so with this exercise, I want you to drive through your heels, keep your head on the ground, and you're going to squeeze your butt muscles, so you're lifting your hip up towards the sky. When you do lift your this area up to the sky, avoid lifting too much where your back is hyperextending like this. You want to keep it neutral, and then once you're at that position, you're going to return back to the step. So whenever you're ready, go ahead. Squeeze the butt cheeks. Good. Drive through your heels. All right, go ahead. Okay, good. Go ahead. Good. Go ahead. Okay, and one more. Good. All right, you can stand back up. Okay, the next exercise is going to be the lunge. This also falls under the lower body category. The muscles used in this exercise are your glutes and your quads. The joint action is going to be knee and hip flexion as you go down, and then knee and hip extension as you raise back up. A progression of this exercise would be having weights at your side. Another progression would be having one foot elevated, your back foot elevated when performing the squat, or having it on a Bosu ball for more of a stability and core engagement. A variation of this exercise could be a walking lunge, a forward lunge, or a backward lunge. So I'm actually going to ask you to do is just do a stationary lunge. I feel like that might be a little better for you. Okay, so if you could go on, thank you, to the side. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to take a step forward, just a step, like so. Okay, a little bit more. Good. So now I'm going to ask you to do, before you do this now, is lower yourself to the ground, but when you lower yourself to the ground, I want you to focus on putting the weight on this heel and keeping this all up. Good. If you need to hold on to me, you can. Keeping all this aligned, your hip, your knee, and your ankle. I'm actually going to adjust your ankle. There you go. Keep that straight. And I'm also going to adjust this. Just, no. The other way? No, there. Just your ankle, Ma. Just your ankle in. There you go. That's good. And then you move this back. There you go. Okay. I'm just going to hold on to you so you don't lose your balance. So avoid inversion of the knee and your ankle. So that means like going like this. And then when you lunge forward, I also want you to avoid hinging forward. I want you to stay in that nice neutral position with your back and just lower yourself to the ground by bending your knee. This is where the knee flexion is involved. And then you're going to lift yourself back up. Okay? So go ahead. Perform this. Oh, all right. It seems a little too... actually, can you back up the back knee a little bit more? A little bit more? A little bit more back? Okay. All right. So go ahead. Lower yourself into a lunge. Okay. Turn back up. Okay. Do it again. Good. Try to avoid, it kind of looks like you might be hyperextending when you're going forward, so just try to keep the, yeah. All right, go ahead. Good. Go ahead. Good. That's good. All right. So the next exercise that we are going to do is the lunge with a bicep curl. Or we could do another.
No, I could do a lunge.
Yeah, okay. We'll do a lunge with the bicep curl. This falls under the total body exercise. The muscles used in this are your biceps, your quads, and your glutes. The joint action is elbow, knee, your elbow flexion, and then your knee and hip flexion going down, and then extension coming back up. A progression of this exercise, as before with the normal lunge, would be raising one foot up to create more of a stabilization exercise, engaging the core more. Another variation would be bicep curl walking, and another variation would be using a resistance band with the lunge. So having in a stationary lunge position, having the resistance band in front of you, taking the lunge, and then lifting the resistance band into the bicep curl. Okay, so I'm going to ask you again to go into the stationary position with your feet staggered, and staggered like this. And like we did with the lunge before, so bring that more forward, please. And then bring that foot more back. Hold on to you. Okay, good. So, just like with I said, the coaching points for this, make sure, hold on to you, so keep everything aligned, try to avoid going forward and raising off of that heel. Make sure the heel stays flat on the ground with the bicep curl. Bring your pinkies up towards the sky when you go to flex your elbow towards your shoulder, and stop bringing the weight up to your shoulder when you no longer feel tension in your bicep. Okay, and then, so you're going to perform the bicep curl when you're into the lunge, bicep curl, and then return back up, okay?
Okay.
So whenever you're ready. You good? Go ahead. Okay, don't forget with the bicep curl, it might be because the weight's too light or something, avoid bringing it like this and your elbows going forward. You want to make sure your elbows stay tight and close to your side and stay like this. So as soon as you no longer feel tension in your bicep, that's an indicator when to go back down.
Okay.
All right, go ahead whenever you're ready. Good. All right, go ahead. Ready? And one more, please. Good. All right, so final for the last exercise. So for the last exercise, we're going to do the RDL bent row. This falls under the this falls under the total body category. Excuse me. The muscles used in this exercise are going to be the erector spinae, your hamstrings, along with your bicep brachii. The joint action is going to be hip and knee and shoulder extension along with elbow flexion. A progression or variation of this exercise would be using a resistance band. As always, you perform the bent row, hold on to the resistance band, and then lift back up. And another variation, and this could also be a progression, would be using a barbell rather than dumbbells. Okay, so Let me actually turn to the side again. So first we're going to go through what the RDL is. So with the RDL, what I want you to do, and this is going to be a simultaneous motion. So you're going to, when you bend at the hips and then hinge at your knee, or bend at your knees and then hinge at the hips. And I want you to go down like so, keeping that spine straight and engaging your core. So go ahead, let me see. And you could bring the weights in front of you like so. So return, stand back up. So slight bend at the knee. And then what you're going to do is hinge at the hip. Keep on, keep hinging. But I don't, yep. And I want you to keep this like that. There you go. Hinge, keep on, keep hinging. Keep bending at the hip. Keeping this. There you go. So that's how the RDL is going to be. And then once you're in this position, you're going to rotate the weights like so. Nope, not right there. And you're going to bring your elbow up to the sky, keeping it in. Good, keeping it in, and squeezing this together. There you go. And then you're going to turn back down. Rotate these back down. And then you're going to slowly stand back up from your position. Okay, so that's going to be, it's going to be RDL, bent row, and then return back. Okay, so whenever you're ready, go ahead. I'll see if there's any. Make sure this stays. There you go. And when you also want to keep these closer to your shin. There you go. A little bit more. Okay, then perform the bent row. There you go. Good. Squeezing this, keeping it straight. Good job. And then return start position. All right. Or go ahead whenever you're ready. Keeping this like this. Good. Good. Return. And then return back up. All right. Go ahead. Squeeze together. Keep your nose in. Good. All right. And then one more time. Bend at the hip, knees a little bit, hinge. Try not to hyperextend. There you go. But keep this down. Here, can you lower the weights again? Down. Bring your hip. There you go. And then bring your head. There you go. There you go. Perfect. And then, good. Alrighty. Alright, well, that's it. Thanks to my mom for doing the exercises for me and letting me coach her through. Those are all the exercises that include the core, single joint upper body, multi-joint upper body, lower body, and total body. Thanks.